Okay, today we're going to make a baby carriage out of a watermelon. Basically, it's a fruit bowl. This is February right now in Florida, so we can find watermelons. But it's still a little smaller than I like. I would like it to be a little longer. So the first thing you want to do is set your watermelon down. This one has a spot already, a flat spot where it was growing. And that's actually good because it's already pretty flat, but I really need to make sure it doesn't move at all, so we're going to get a little bit of a cut. I am trying really hard not to go too far into the flesh, because when you have it filled with all your different fruits, you don't want it leaking. Now if it happens and you have a little tray under it, it's not a really big deal, but because I don't need this until the next day, I really don't want to. Wouldn't be as important if you were using it for the same day. That's a lot better. It's a lot more sturdier. What I like to do is, now you got the bottom cut, so the watermelon will spin now. And I'm not the greatest at doing straight lines, and every fruit is a little different, so I always take a marker and put it against the fruit with my hand secure and turn slowly and see if it looks like it's getting a fairly straight line considering the shape of your watermelon or whatever else you're cutting. And seeing if I'm, if it's off a little bit, you can always adjust it later. That doesn't look too bad, so I'm going to take the tip off. I like to start at the end, because this is going to be the back of your carriage. So, you don't want to go past this either. You want to make sure you stay above it. But it's also going to go on your straightness, and not all watermelons are straight. Now you don't have to go completely around because you are doing a baby carriage, but I am, just to see how much it's going to line up. And see, it's off a little bit, but it's not bad. Now this is the part you're cutting out, the back end all the way over, and we're going to come straight across. So now you want to look down at your watermelon and figure out where you want the part that's left that covers, for the baby carriage. Okay, so this is the part we're going to remove. I went ahead and did the outline of the handle. So right now you're just going to take a knife and we're going to cut along the lines we made. Now you can cut right below the black line, but I like to cut right above it. That way if I need to go down a little bit more to make something even, you can. Alright, so I already cut all the way around. I also go ahead and cut the handle out. I do the inner one first, then do the outer line. Keeps it a little more sturdy. Now everything's still connected. After you've already done your initial cut with the little knife, I just go through careful with a bigger knife just to make it easier to pull it apart. It'll help it come apart a lot easier. Now if you don't have a big enough knife to go through the watermelon, it's not going to be hard to get it apart. A trick would be, if you don't have a long knife to go through, is just give yourself a little notch on each side like this. Remove it. Do the same over here. Be careful not to go too far down. Don't go into the part you're keeping. Remove it. And then you can just use these as your fingers to rip. Now I went through all the way, so this should hopefully come out easy. See? And you got your piece. Now just put this aside. And we're going to start cleaning with I like to do some melon balls first. And you can use the small or the big. It depends on how much time you have This could be very time consuming, it could be fast. If you're in a hurry, you don't have to do melon balls, you can just cut it out in chunks. I like to have some for the top, it makes it look nice. So I'm going to melon ball all the way around and then I'll show you. So I'm just going to cut all the way around. Just use your rind as a guide. Try not to go through. If you go through, then you're going to leak. It won't be a disaster, just going to be a little messy. Okay. And then just put some cuts in here, in between your melon balls, and make it come up a little easier. You can get a spoon. Alright, so now we're going to take the spoon and you're just going to dig out the flesh. Now I put this separate from my melon balls because I want them on top. And then I'll just go back and trim these later, make them look a little more presentable, or you can just throw them on the bottom. But you see how you get a second layer here. Now if you really want melon balls, you just pull all this up and then continue doing your melon balls. Okay, so this is the baby carriage all cleaned out. Set that aside. And this is the part we cleaned out from the handles. Remember, I already cut through it, so everything should pop out. If you want to, you can cut a little triangle like this, like we did in the other watermelon, just to kind of help pull it out. This part, be a little more careful. Some things might still be connected, and you take your little knife and just run it through one more time, just to make sure. You don't want this to break. You can't fix it if you break it with some toothpicks, but you don't want to do that unless you have to. Your handle. Now you can put this away. Now as a little thing, as a little safety thing, I always save this. Just in case something happens to your handle, you can make another handle with pieces here. Until you get it assembled and you know everything's all, secure. Okay. Well, this is your handle. You got to clean the back. Get all the red off. You don't need it 100% off, but you want to get some of the flesh off. You can leave some red. Okay, and trim up anything you see. Now when I do oranges, when they're really large, I try to get a minimum of 2 decent sized circles, that are the wheels, out of here. And it's also going to depend on your orange. You might have done it before. I've only gotten 1 circle for each wheel. Basically same thing. You want to get 2 to 3 good pieces out of here. And save this piece in case you need it. Okay. So now let's get the carriage over here. Alright, so you're just going to make your cuts on your oranges and lemons. You're going to use them as wheels. Put them on with toothpicks. Cut off your toothpicks. The same with your handle. Secure it with toothpicks. Don't forget to cut them off. And remember, you need some toothpicks, like 3. 1 on the bottom, 2 on each side. And when you put your fruit inside, it's going to also hold your handle too. So I will show you the final result on a platter and all decorative.